Welcome to The Big Reset, Marketing and Business Edition, a podcast for entrepreneurs, forward thinkers, and marketing junkies embracing new world business strategies and zigging when others zag. Host Scott Harkey is president and CEO of OH Partners, one of the largest and most decorated creative agencies in the Southwest, which has helped open the door for him to sit down with an array of high-octane guests and personalities, all with credible stories to tell and valuable insights to share. As the advertising and marketing industry continue heading towards new world shifts, align yourself with true leaders in the space and make the Big Reset a weekly habit as you stay one step ahead of the masses in your journey to self-educate, learn, and grow your personal and professional brand.
I'm freaking pumped as usual, but today I'm really pumped because we got Dominic Orozco in the house, one of my doggies, CMO at Gila River Hotels and Casinos.
There's another letter in there actually. It's a S. It's CSMO.
What is CSMO?
It's very unique, right? I take pride in it, right? Because it's very different. So
I want to hear that.
So there's.
You told me this. I forgot.
I have. It's cool.
All right,
it's not common, but I hold a lot of value to it.
Okay.
Strategic.
Okay.
Chief Strategic Marketing Officer.
I like that.
Yeah. So what's interesting about that, and not to kind of
go on
my
this.
introduction here.
No, let's go on this.
Strategic. It was important to the casino that I'm at now, which is Gila River. You know it extremely well, to put marketing as a strategic role in all of it. And so we lead with marketing and kind of follow up with operations, etc.
It all falls into that. All strategic falls into marketing. I like that. It's not just pretty pictures like back in the day. People said like, "Hey, do the creative," but it's strategic initiative, which of course
you're the vision, right?
Yeah,
the vision of what your business is going to be, what you're going to sell, what your product is, and what your message is and your brand, and then everything else will follow suit.
Okay, well, let's jump into that.
We're going to go right into it?
I mean, might as well. I want to go to your background, of course, because I think there's a lot of people that listen to podcasts. And for me, when I listen to podcasts, I love hearing how somebody got to where they are in their career. You know, because it's always interesting. And I think you have a lot of that. And I especially like when we talk about this all the time, I like the street hustler. You know, it's cool to like I did this and I did that. And I just interviewed Ray Anderson.
Oh yeah,
and Homeboy is like,
guy.
I mean, he's a street hustler, but he's also like, it's like, you know, when you go to Stanford and Harvard, and like, of course you're gonna be a badass.
He's all charisma.
Yeah, dude, he's amazing. But like guys like you and I, like I think have a little different, like, you know, like we're not the Stanford guys, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to get into that, but let's get into like some of the strategic initiatives you're doing, because it's freaking crazy time to be in the casino business.
Yeah.
So I know you're working on some insane stuff. Like
it's a great time, man. To be honest with you, it's always been a great time. I mean, the industry in general is a positive industry. What's cool about this, and I tell a lot of people this, is that my whole methodology or my reason of going into the casino business is because I just need to get my foot in.
Yeah.
And there's so many different channels, right? If I go into healthcare, I'm stuck in healthcare, right? If I go into HR, I'm stuck in HR. If I go into a risk company, I'm stuck in risk. And that category is there. I didn't know what I really wanted to do, right? I know what I want to do now. But back then, I'm like, hey, this place has so many different channels that I can fall into. I started off as a cage cashier, to be honest with you, at the age of 21 years old.
That's insane.
Yeah. The questions that I had to go through to get the job was 10 questions. And it was like, can you add a green chip, which is 25, a red chip that's 10, and a white one, which is 1? Can you add like 5 of those things to come out with a number? And I'm like, I got this, man. This is a lick, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're in New Mexico.
New Mexico, yeah.
And you started out as what do they call it? Chip operator?
I was what was I?
Cashier.
Cage cashier.
Cage cashier,
yeah. Born and raised in New Mexico. Bounced around. I went to 13 different schools through high school, man.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So every year, if you want to quantify that, every year of a
13 different schools in New Mexico?
Yeah.
Why?
I just move around. I mean, the family moved around. I come from a single parent family household, right? It was my mom raising me.
Your mom raised you?
Yeah. So the father was non-existent. You know, that typical story.
Wow.
Unfortunately, that's so existent, which needs to be broken. I mean, if men are listening to this, you know what I mean?
100%.
Take care of your families, man. Lead your families, for sure.
Not having a male figure in the household.
It's detrimental, man.
There's studies on it.
Yeah, there's scars that happen
for men. Sure. Holy shit. So you moved around 13 times.
13 times. So I bounced from like parochial school I go to Catholic school, I go to Christian school, I go to public school.
Wow.
Kind of bounced around. So the benefit of all that, man, there is a
I want to hear like how that shaped you. Like what like do you meet people that are you more personal with your personal guy? Like what having to go through that, what do you think like was some of the outcomes of that?
You nailed it. So exactly what you said it was is that I can be anywhere with anybody and make it work. Because I had to be in 13 different environments, I was able to be very fluid in the way I was able to read people's personalities, right? So it helped.
I like
me.
how you say, here's the benefit from going to 13 freaking different high schools.
Dude,
because a lot of people be like, I couldn't make it because I was in 13 different high schools, like I had no chance.
You would not change your life.
What?
You would not change your life, and neither would I, right?
No, 100%. No, the scars, everything. It's all part of the purpose and the journey for sure.
Totally.
I love that.
So I do the 13 different school things. Helps me out in kind of marketing and learning people and learning personalities.
You read people.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably only 4 people that I don't like and don't like me in the whole entire world. Well, that's a later podcast.
Holy, I like
only 4, man.
We'll have to talk about that later too. Yeah.
So I go through these schools and I don't know what I want to do. In the meantime, my mom is working for an advertising agency.
Oh, that's
right?
cool.
You don't know this, right? I'm telling you a story for the first time.
I can't believe this. I don't know that. We've had so many stories. I love this.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to stay online and make sure there's a full story behind this. So you talk about not knowing what you want to do, and you go to multiple different schools. And then, my mom's in an ad agency. So at the age of 8 years old, when I start realizing, comprehending what's going on, she works at an ad agency called Competitive Edge. It was in New Mexico.
Okay.
Competitive Edge owned a multitude of other things. They did what normal companies do, and they buy up other ventures, right? You do it yourself or with partners, right?
Yeah.
You see a PR firm, you buy them up.
Bring them in.
Bring them in. So they had the same kind of methodology, right?
Yeah.
They had the Matter Films, which was their Sunrise Studios, right, across the street. So they would make these. They had Lee Gallus Oldsmobile was the car company, right?
The local car dealer.
Yeah. So they had this client. Well, back then, man, it was really cut and paste. Like they literally would like draw something on a backlit board, take a snapshot, right, see what was right, cut, paste, take another snapshot. It was reel to reel. And right now we take it for benefit, right?
Yeah.
But just like, I need a spot to get to a radio station. I'm gonna send an email. You fire it off. We would have to, I remember rushing to like the airplane on FedEx to catch the flight overnight so that you could put your reel-to-reel shipment for that spot to get aired.
Wow.
Yeah, so
what did your mom do at the ad agency?
She was a trafficker.
Oh, she's a
trafficker, man. Can you believe that?
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, so I would run around, right? We would clean the buildings, talk about a single parent family.
Wow.
She would work, and then she would clean the same building where she worked afterwards to have 2 sources of income.
What's your mom's name?
Donna.
Dude,
Yeah, I actually took her last name.
Oh,
So her last name's Orozco. She's been married since then.
Okay.
But yeah, it's
wow.
Yeah, so I learned etiquette, everything from her on the work side of it. Agency side, kind of saw how that was all working, right? And kind of, you guys have a crazy job in the agency world, and we'll touch on that.
That's
later
so funny
on.
how like even when I was talking to Ray too, like everyone I talked to, like it's weird how like things that like you learn set yourself up for like later, like could be 20 years later.
I never would have thought that.
I wouldn't either.
There's bumps along the way in life, and you take jobs, right? You take these jobs, and you're like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing here?
The dead-end jobs.
Yeah, dead-end jobs, right? But now I'm like, okay, now I understand why I did it.
Huh.
And so I've done manual labor, I've done landscaping, I've done everything probably under the sun. And to get where I'm at, I value what I do every day. When I put on the suit or whatever I'm wearing, I value that because there was a time when I was putting on jeans and boots and going to work in the sun, right?
Yeah.
I get it, man. I see people are doing that, and I value them what they do. So long story, I kind of go into this out of high school, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And you follow the educational platform like normally everybody does.
Yeah.
I meet my wife in the story, and I met her in a small town about an hour out of Albuquerque, where I was born and raised. Right? I meet my wife, and she was totally nothing of what I was at that age. I was a knucklehead, man. To be honest with you, I think everybody at that age is probably a knucklehead in some terms and sorts, right? I was searching for qualification as a man that didn't have a father, right? Figure. I was searching for qualification, whether it was whatever it was, right? And so I go down the route. I meet my wife, and she is perfectly put together.
Your wife is perfectly put. She's awesome.
Does not drink.
Yeah.
I mean, just perfect, right? And I'm like, there's something about this that I love and enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lock her in.
Yeah, you need that balance.
Yeah, so I tell the story.
How old are you?
I am 20 years old at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, one crazy story. I've only been single for 6 months since I was 14 years old. I'm a running partner kind of guy, right? I hate to be alone, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's scars, I don't know.
Who knows, but it works out for you.
Yeah. So I was single 6 months prior to meeting her. So I meet her, and we end up having my daughter within 3 months of being together.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was planned.
And you knew, like you met her, like boom.
Totally new.
That's cool.
Totally new.
I like that.
So I lock her in, right? And in 3 months we're having a kid. We get married after and start this family. And we decided where are we going to start this family at? Where are we going to live at? Where we're going to reside? We have a new kid. My parents, my mom and stepfather, they own a recording studio in New Mexico. And they recorded people like Snoop Dogg and Outkast and Mariah Carey.
I remember hearing this from you,
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. And I'm like, they're busy with their business. They still have it, right? To this day.
Wow.
And I'm like, her parents were retired. He was a retired Army veteran that was in 82nd Airborne. He taught boxing in the military. Her mom was a retired judge in the prison system.
Oh my God.
So you could imagine what I was going into, right? I'm like, I am not polished clean.
Yeah.
I understand why she is.
Yeah. She wanted the bad boy.
Yeah. That's not me anymore. That's been taken away.
Okay, I got you.
Man card.
Yeah.
So we started a family there, and at the age, getting back to my career, I'm like, I'm gonna put in for a casino here. I'm 21. I'm gonna put in. It was the only kind of industry in that area. There was 13,000 people in that area of Grants, New Mexico at the time. And I'm like, you either had prisons or you had the casinos, right? So
Or
I'm
Intel.
like, they had no Intel.
Okay, because Intel wasn't there
in Albuquerque. Yeah, but we were in Grants. We were an hour west out of a
that's
small
right.
town.
Okay.
And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the casino business, and I'm going to go that route. 21 years old, put application in, told you the questions, very easy. They asked me for a back, and God, this is getting very deep here. Ask a background check to get your gaming badge. And I'm like, oh man, this is not good, right? Because you go back 10 years, right?
I went through that process too when I started working with you guys. I had to go back 10 years.
Yeah.
And the guy called me. He's like, bro, like you were a wild like high school, college kid. I was like, yes, I was.
You were happy about that?
I was not happy. I was scared at first. I was like, did I screw this up? But yeah, I've gone through that's because the casino background. It's insane.
Yeah. And little intel, man. I mean, I go to get this, and I'm going freaking out, right? I'm like, oh man, I'm 21 years old. That's all the way back to 11. That's in the prime of me being crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe I'll just go back to the places I was living in, right? The jurisdictions.
Yeah.
And just get a printout of my criminal history, right? Basically is what it is.
Yeah.
And so I get these printouts, and I guess I had this warrant that was sitting there, a ticket for speeding that I never paid.
Oh,
because I didn't have money back then. And they're like, you got a warrant for your arrest. Crazy story. I go in there to get my printout. The lady's like, our printer's jammed. Can you just sit back and wait on the couch? I'm gonna get this fixed. I'm sitting on the couch. She played me like a fool, right? I'm sitting there. Cop walks around the corner, and he's like, Dominic Orozco. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you got a warrant for your arrest. You're going to jail. I'm trying to get a job, clean myself up, kind of get a better career.
You're in an interview trying to get a casino job.
Yeah, getting my reports for criminal history.
Wow.
To apply for
and you get arrested.
And I get arrested.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I get out. Everything's good. I start working for the casino as a cage cashier.
Oh, so wait, so you paid your deal, you came back and they still gave you a job?
Yeah, totally. The thing about gaming badges, I wasn't a bad person in general, right?
Yeah.
Little misdemeanors here and there, and just being a young teenage kid, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't a felon. I wasn't, and I still to this day am not a felon, right? And what came out of it is like, as long as you're truthful and honest with us, we could accept that.
Wow.
You know, money laundering, key things to game, right?
There's a speeding ticket. You're
speeding ticket. You're good, right? Yeah, you're a rule breaker.
Yeah.
So I started working with cage cashier. At 6 months in, I'm going to move on. I need more money. I was making $8 an hour, $8 an hour. And I'm like, I need something better. So I'm going to move, go work for a landscape company. I told you the landscape company.
You're a kid at home.
I had one
Your
daughter
daughter
at the time, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to move and go out. So I was going to put in my resignation and leave. And they said, hey, we have a supervisor position. Do you want it? And I said, what does it pay? And they said $11. I said, I'm in. Take that. I keep moving up in the system. 14 years of working for the same company.
This is the casino company.
Same casino company in New Mexico. I worked for a cage cashier, cage supervisor. Went to a marketing Players Club supervisor. Went to marketing manager. Went to marketing director. went to an AGM, assistant general manager role, and got to a point where I was kind of capped out. Nothing on the higher level was moving.
So for how long from cashier to assistant general manager?
14 years.
Took you 14
I
years.
gave that company 14 years.
Damn.
And a great company, and I wouldn't change anything, man. It does seem like a long time, but there is a such thing of getting into things that you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
There is a misconception in young professionals, period, right? And even us, as our age we're in now, right? I'm 40, you're 30, 39.
Yeah.
Even then we're going, oh, we're going to conquer the world, right?
Yeah, and
over.
we're frustrated when we're not. I was so frustrated, like even still now, I'm like, why am I not conquering the world yet? You know what I mean?
40 years old, but you still got 25 years at least.
I know.
Look at what you accomplished in.
I know, but but at 26 it was worse because there was like nothing.
Yeah.
So you had felt that even, and you're working did it feel like you were working your ass off?
It did, but I could do it back then, right?
Yeah.
I could work 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
You're working 60 hours a week here, 50 hours a week.
Yeah. Trying to prove my worth, trying to move up the ranks, right? But there's
what
value.
made you work? Like, how do you why were you getting promotions?
You have to outrun the bear. You have to outrun the person. You don't have to outrun the bear. You got to outrun the person, basically, right?
Yeah.
So in looking at that, I looked at the folks around me, and I'm like, okay, I just got to be better than you.
Yeah.
And they're going to promote me.
Yeah.
There was opportunity. Go back to the casino business, right? Tons of opportunity. There's always attrition happening in casino businesses.
100%.
There's always openings.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to keep applying for it. So
that is true in workforce, though. Like you don't size people up like in a negative way, but you kind of go, all right, I'm outwork you.
Yeah. Until you run the full department. Right at the time, I was kind of the department area.
Yeah.
So a few things. I learned how a frontline employee feels. I learned what they go through. I learned the sticking points in the organization that I was working for in gaming primarily. I learned what people were looking for in elevation when they were going to advance you, where you're mature enough. There's a such thing as maturity as it comes to it. You can get a degree and you can do that all day long as you want, which I did, you know what I mean, later on. It doesn't mean anything. The paper is great, right? And there's value in the work ethic that goes into getting it.
Yeah, you passed that test. Okay, cool.
On the job training, though, is
it's everything.
Priceless.
And I don't know if I've seen in any other industries the way I've seen in the casino industry. And I agree with you. Like, I've handled I bet I've worked in like 50 different industries, you know, I've done like car dealers, I've done plumbers, I've done, personal injury attorneys, I've done like the weirdest shit you could ever imagine. I've probably handled their advertising in some industry. Yeah. But in the casino business, number one, it is a fun business of good people that are authentic and real and honest.
Yeah.
But the other interesting thing about the industry is almost everybody I've talked to has a somewhat similar story to you. Ken, same thing. Councilman Redbird, like, is that a thing where like people work their way up and have handled every job in the casino?
Typically. Yeah, what you'll find is some of the most esteemed leaders have been your frontline employee 25 years ago.
That's crazy.
It's normal and it's natural, and actually I value it the most.
Because you have empathy for every single job there. You can be like, oh, you don't like doing this? I did this.
When I'm in my office and EVS and environmental services comes, which is to get the trash and clean up stuff, I don't allow them to dump my trash. I dump my own trash, and because I know what they've gone through. I did that at a teenage. My mom owned a business, right? I told you.
Did you? That's crazy.
So I'm like, I don't want you to feel like you're degraded, because you're not. You will eventually, if you have the drive and want, that EVS person will potentially be something big.
Would it be fair to say that because you have empathy for every role, like you know how to lead at the organization you're at now?
Yeah.
Part of the success.
Definitely. I mean, people want to know that they're valued and they're heard, and everybody. I mean, world period, right?
Yeah.
What I don't have empathy for is people that are lazy and just don't want to do the work. The ones that want to collect the check. Yeah. You're working for a prize. You're on a team, basically, and that's where sports. You're on a team. You got to put everything for that team. If not, don't be on the team. And
so that's why you have, I think, the respect that you have in the industry is like you have both sides of the coin. Like, don't screw around. Like, I've had that job. Like, I know when I see laziness, because I've been there, and that's not going to be tolerated. But the hard workers, like, I have your back. I know there's going to be failures, and I'm here to help you succeed. Like, that's, like, to me, like, true leadership.
Dude, I would drive an hour to my job, okay, because it was an hour away from where I lived. Yeah. Right during this time, I would drive an hour. My shift was 1 day, 2 swing, 2 graves. That was my week. So when people come in my office and they go, oh, I'm just tired. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not buying it, right? Because I'm like,
you can do more.
We can do it.
Yeah,
you could do it. So just encouragement. I have empathy for them. I respect them. Let's not say empathy, but just respect them in general, what they're doing, because I know they're on a path and a journey to get somewhere.
Do you think millennials, like, you know, you and I are on the cusp, like we could both be either millennials or we can be Gen X?
Yep.
Do you think, because I think millennials are really smart, and I think for the most part millennials actually work really hard, and they want, like, some of the same attributes that I can relate to, I see in them in terms of like wanting to succeed, wanting to get promoted, wanting to work hard. I don't necessarily think it's a generational thing, like millennial, like you hear all the time millennials are lazy, and I don't agree with that. I'm just curious, like your thoughts, like is it partly, do people partly have a point when they say that? Maybe
I have two perspectives.
I want to.
One is as
and I didn't know I was going to go down this rabbit hole, but
no, it's cool.
Screw it kind of came up.
Yeah. Two perspectives. One, I feel as parents, right? We want our kids to have a better life than we had.
Yeah.
So every generation, right, is always trying to make it easier.
Yeah, a little
sense.
click better. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a sense of somewhat of a complacency, a little bit, right? Because they have a little bit easier. Your kids have it easier,
yeah.
right?
And we had it way easier than boomers or whatever.
But we wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, for sure.
We enjoy that, appreciate it. I think millennials are the mindset of work smarter, not harder.
They totally are. I'd agree with that.
We think there's value in showing you that I work 60 hours a week and I got sweat coming down my forehead.
Yeah.
Then you value that.
Yeah. That's a fair point. And in some cases they are right. Like there's some things like I've seen like that they work way smarter.
Yeah, definitely.
That's interesting.
So 14 years I get done, man. Let's get back on the story.
Okay, yeah.
14 years, I'm ready to move on. And I know I have to move outside the company. And I remember a boss telling me, sometimes to grow, you have to leave the company. I thought at the time that was so disrespectful, right?
The CEO said that?
The CMO.
Okay.
I thought at the time, I'm going, God, that's so disrespectful, right? On one note. And then I'm like, why doesn't he want me here? I took it as that.
You took it personally.
Yeah. He was enlightening me, though, now that I know, I understand what he was saying. He was spot on because he experienced it. And he knows that for people to leave states and leave industries and move around is probably the hardest thing you'll do in a career. It shakes you to your core.
Yeah.
It shakes you to your
It's
core.
where growth happens, for sure.
Yeah.
And in industries, it's hard to move up. You know, certainly you got to go do something else. And like, sometimes the most obvious internal person for the job doesn't get it.
Totally. And I get that.
He was spot on with that.
Yep. Yeah. So I put my applications out, I put my fillers out, and I get a bite to go to an advertising agency. I respect you guys 100%. Man.
So you even have empathy for the damn. You're part of the ad agency. That's why it makes such a good client. You're like, I've worked in that.
It didn't last long, man.
It's hard, doesn't it?
It is tough.
Yeah, because you came and worked for Reister.
Yeah, I did.
And you moved to Phoenix.
Yeah. I worked for Tim Reister. Fantastic guy, man.
He's an incredible guy. I have nothing but great things to say about him. He's
amazing.
He's an amazing business person.
I learned a lot in the short time that I was with him. Just seeing how he treats them, everything that was there.
He's a professional, man. I've been with him multiple times, and every time I sit down, I'm like, oh wow, wow, that's freaking smart.
My only regret about the whole thing is that I didn't leave that department or that place the right way. I think I probably did it the wrong way.
What do you mean by that?
We all have minor bumps, right?
Yeah,
I left in a short stint, so he put a lot of equity and value in me. I came in, it wasn't for me. Talk about immaturity, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I was immature at the time and go, man, I didn't see how to approach this in a different way. And what happened is I ended up going, I'm going to go back to what I know, which is operations. Now, I didn't know at the time if I loved agency or not. I saw it from the outside. It looked
all glamorous.
It looked valuable. It really did. I was like, man, this is great.
We screw around all day.
These guys will wear polo shirts, khakis, and Vans. That's Scott's attire, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm dressed up today.
You are? That's great. Thank you. And they look fantastic. Like there's a glitz and glamour to it. I kind of value that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I get in it, and it is on the opposite side of taking orders, right?
Yeah.
And trying to navigate personalities again.
Yeah.
And going, I want to take the order of what you're telling me to do, but this is the right way to do it and educate and make sure that they take it in a respectful manner.
Yeah.
So
you handled the Chickasaw account, right? In Oklahoma.
Choctaw,
not Chickasaw. It was a huge account.
It was huge.
Like how many casinos? It was like 11 or something?
Yeah. It's something massive. They have 2, 3. They have like 5 major ones, and it spreads all the way from northeast Oklahoma all the way to the bottom of southern southwest kind of Oklahoma.
I remember when we landed, I was like, holy crap.
I used to drive that from Pensacola, Oklahoma, all the way to Durant, Oklahoma. It was a 4-hour drive, and you just kind of hit the road.
Oh my gosh.
But I learned a lot, and when I thought about doing it, I remember the question going, I don't know if you're an agency person. I didn't know what that meant at the time, and I know what that means.
He said that?
Not him.
Okay.
One of his coworkers, yeah.
Okay, somebody said it.
Yeah, somebody said it. And I didn't see the value, but he truly honest, he trusted me and trusted what I was going to do. There was a little dysfunction in the terms of we didn't know where I kind of sat and fit with all the things, right? And I felt like I brought some value in some sense, but the method of the madness is I wanted to learn the backside of it as well. I wanted to learn what the agency, I knew I was going to be in marketing some way, somehow. I didn't know how much I loved casino at the time until I left it. And I go, oh, I kind of love casino, I love operations. But in the meantime, I am learning 100% about branding and how this all ticks. And so,
which comes back again.
Which comes full circle to my job that I'm in now, is I know how OH Partners works. I know their struggles. I know where they bottleneck. I know, and I can appreciate.
You can see it.
I can understand.
You call us out on it.
I can understand why it is. You know what I mean? The capture of hours and all those things that come with it, right?
It's so hard.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So I learned that side of it. It's helped me in what I do now. The community that I work for now, huge.
Oh, I mean, so they brought you over from Research to do what initially, Gila?
So I had a colleague that was working for Gila River at the time that I worked with in New Mexico. He was our corporate controller at the time, and he just happened to be a VP of marketing for Gila River. He called me up and said, hey, we got some issues. I can see from the outside looking in that they had branding confusion. I could recognize it. Yeah. I'm going, these guys have resources, they have dominance, they have everything they need to be a powerhouse. If they could align it, nobody's going to touch them.
100%.
So he calls me and he's like, hey, we have some issues. Can you come in, or would you willing to come in? And I'm like, I actually would. I would love to. You call me at the right time.
Wow.
And he goes, we want you to be director of marketing for Bequiva Hotel and Casino. And I said, okay, sounds good. I go and I take a drive out to Bequiva, right? It was an hour away from where I'm living.
Yeah.
I drive out there. I go into my orientation to get hired. In that same orientation, they go, hey, you're going to do the full thing. You're doing the full corporate director, taking all 3 properties.
Wow. So the person you met with said, okay, you're not just this job, you're going to take it all.
You're going to take it all. Met the CEO, right? Kenneth Manuel, met him. He liked what I was doing. We've stayed hand in hand. I share his vision. It's been great ever since.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Just because I don't know why I keep going back to this, but I keep understanding how people grow. And I think a good KPI, I mean, we're marketing people, KPIs come up for just growth ticks is somewhat job titles, right? And you see as you go up kind of the food chain and seeing how you did that. If you had to pick a few things out that stick out, that's okay, I want to say this, and this were some big reasons for going from a cashier to, CMO of, one of the biggest, regional casinos in the country. Do you have any that stick out to you? What made that?
I think stay the course, right? Stay disciplined is one thing, right? Don't think that it's going to be instant and come to you right away. When you get into a company or an enterprise, look at the top, see if there's value there, see if you like what's there, and invest the time, and just slowly make your way and climb that ladder. It'll come. It definitely comes. And stay in the industry. Pick an industry you love. Stay in it. And just have one thing I say is your name's on everything. Make sure you do everything with pride, and make sure you do with everything. If you put your name and autograph your picture, would everybody go, that's a great and brilliant picture? We see value in that guy or lady, whatever it is.
I mean, you're kind of old school a little bit, don't you think? You put your name on everything, work hard. I mean, you kind of got a little old school vibe to you a little bit.
I'm an old soul, man, for sure. And I'm glad you pointed that out. Inside, I feel young, right?
Yeah.
But I still have old traditional kind of values.
Yeah.
I mean, my uncle had a good part of that. He raised me a little bit for a couple of years and stayed a part of my life. And he's the one that kind of shifted my mentality, right, to be more disciplined and structured and have, raise your family, be a good person and help your community, those kind of things. But the old fashioned is, I mean, it really is. I mean, the shake hand, right? The handshake, right?
Yeah.
You
strong, firm, in the eye handshake.
In the eye handshake, right? Ask my kids.
I teach my kids that.
Ask my kids that.
Yeah.
We meet somebody, I'm watching how they're acting, so they're set up for the future.
For sure.
So I would say keep those values. As a millennial or whatever it is, there is quality in those values. It may seem antiquated and it may seem obsolete, but when you shake somebody's hand with a firmness and you look in their eye, you know what it creates and you know what happens. There's a sense of they believe what you're saying and you're confident in what you're doing. I think confidence carries huge merit and huge weight for everybody. Are you confident about what you're selling?
But I think confidence, what I've learned is that, sometimes people are like, just be confident. And like, what do you mean just be, like, that's earned.
Yeah.
Like, so you got to go through some
Sure.
shit for that, to get that confidence. You don't just wake up and like, I'm confident.
Right.
I mean, I think there's processes and meditations and working out and things you can get your body and mind ready for confidence.
Yeah.
But I think I do think it's earned. And so when I look at you and like, like I'm sounding like I'm gonna kiss your ass for a minute, but like you're, well dressed, got the title, good dad, daughter in college, like you look like you have it put together, right? Like you do. But like you and I have talked, like, I definitely don't look like I have it put together, Tom. I've reached out to you before too, like, hey man, I'm struggling, and you looked at me with so much empathy, like, hey, I got you, like I understand that, and I know you're like with your church, like I know you mentor a lot of kids, and same thing, like, hey, I like there's been times in my life I haven't got that put together. Is there something around that like is there like what is it that makes you tick that allows for like this confidence and excelling in career and as a person, but yet like you have demons like everybody. Mm-hmm. Like how do you battle both of those? Like
I don't hide the demons, man. You know me. I'm an open book. That's the first thing, is try not to be the perfect person to be right to everybody on the outside. You crumble inside, right? You gotta have foundation. I've been walking in my faith, man, in Christianity as a Christian man for 5 years now, so it's fairly new.
Wow, I thought, see, like I was saying, like I think we always make these assumptions in our mind.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Christian school, I went to Catholic school, all those things, and they were trying to get me to walk in a faith-based kind of manner, right, and accept Christ as your Lord and Savior. And what's interesting is I didn't do that until I was shook into my core. It's funny because you look like you have everything put together, right? It's always a work in progress. And I ask myself, I go, do I have everything put together? Right? But back in those days, I thought the same thing. I thought 35 years old, 34 years old, when I was at the pinnacle of AGM, I got everything put together. I'm good. Everybody wants me. I'm solid. Yeah. When I moved out here, I realized my foundation and what my true purpose wasn't complete. And what happened is I started to spin. I started doing a death spiral.
Really?
And I was really unsure of, did I make the right call? Did I make the right move? There was something telling me to go back to where I was. And it wasn't...
Going back to New Mexico? Really?
Yeah. And it wasn't the right... I wasn't listening to the right...
It was scaredy cat self, kind of, maybe.
Yeah, it could have been.
Was it?
I don't know. It totally could have been.
I like the label things.
Yeah, I'm a scaredy cat.
No, but we all have that. Like, don't do that. Oh, no, don't do that.
I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, 14 years in the same company, you build this, like, you're the big man on the street.
Yeah, for sure.
You can do nothing wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you walk in something.
You get that ego going.
Yeah, and everybody, like you said, confidence, you got to prove yourself. So everybody's like, now you got to prove it to me. You got to prove it to me. Yeah, you might have did that over there, but you want to go over here.
Yeah.
So I start plugging in to going, what do I need to do? And I remember, man, before I was following with Christ, I remember praying that night. It was November 1st, 2015. I remember the exact date.
Wow.
And I will tell you something that's more interesting about that date. November 1st, 2016, I was laying in a hotel about to go to my job for the first time, my new job. And I remember talking to my old boss, and I was like, hey man, you take me back? Are they gonna take me back? Like, will you guys let me take back? Come back?
Wow.
And he goes, you know what? I gotta check with the CEO, and I gotta ask. And I said, all right, 14 years, they're gonna take me back, no questions asked, right? No big deal. That night, before I even walk into my faith, man, I pray.
Wow.
And I'm like, God, if this is you, keep the door open where I'm supposed to be. If it's not, close the door. That was my prayer, man. Don't ask me why I knew to pray it.
Wow.
But I prayed that. I wake up the next morning on the news. It was the day. Do you remember when the earthquake happened in Arizona? There was an earthquake in Arizona.
Yeah, there was that like little earthquake. I kind of remember that.
Yeah, well, to me it was kind of big, but to you it was like a tremor. Yeah.
I grew up in Northern California, so I was like,
So I woke up and I'm like, there's an earthquake in Arizona? Like, what's going on, right? And then he tells me, I call my boss 9 o'clock in the morning. He's like, hey man, they don't want you back. They don't want you back. And I'm like, okay.
He said it like that? They don't want you back?
They don't want you back.
Wow.
And I go,
Oof.
all right. And
That
I was
would
like,
hurt.
this
That
is
would
where I'm supposed to, and that hurt, right?
Oh, that hurts me just like hearing that. Damn.
And I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be then. So I
You're
started
supposed to be a Gila.
at Reestra at the
Oh,
time,
the
right?
Reestra.
Yep. So I'm like, all right, I'm just moving forward. I start plugging into a church, start getting plugged in. My wife and I and my kid, my daughter is having struggles, right? She moved as well in the middle of high school.
And you know that better than anybody.
Oh man, yeah. And so she's struggling, so we try to plug her in, dude. We end up finding our true foundation and following God, right? 5 years following Him. We're at a church right now, North Phoenix Baptist Church in Central, right up the road here.
Yeah.
Pastor is amazing, man. Amazing.
That's cool.
Swoops me in. I started getting plugged into faith-based organizations like Mentor Kids USA.
Yeah.
I recognize those kids that they had something that I don't want them to see. You asked what my drive is. I really want to fix. It's no good if you turn away from a struggle that you had or a problem and don't address it and make sure that other people don't fall in the manhole. You can jump over the hole, right, and leave it, or you can cover that hole so nobody else falls in it. So my mentality is, my drive is I'm going to cover as many holes that I went through as possible, right, so that people don't fall into them. Because if I'm letting people fall into holes, then shame on me, and I'm just being a mean and evil person. I'm just selfish, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I'm on the board for Mentor Kids USA. It's a faith-based program that works in poverty areas of Phoenix. They partner with churches and schools, and they teach good academics, and they teach Bible-based learning.
It's like a mentorship program.
It's a mentorship program, basically.
I love mentor, like Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yeah, you donated to it, thank you for that.
You're welcome. I love it. I think, I think for me, I just can relate because I do think like our purpose and what we do for work allows us to cover those holes. Like that analogy though, like I want to cry thinking about it because I think, the platform like that we're provided in our careers, I think is for a reason, and it's provided to us, not for us to like be cool or for us to have a bunch of money. I think it's provided to us so we can help.
It's our job, right?
100%. I had for a long time. I've been working with my coach, and I think I told you about the guy I'm getting coached by, Coach William. He's this like badass ninja dude. Like
I love it.
He's on me, dude. It's crazy. Yeah. It's like going to basketball practice every day and having someone on your ass, dude. Text me all day. Like
highly valuable.
It's crazy. But I think for a long time I had like the community things that I was doing separate from the business things.
Okay.
And then I realized the better I get myself, the better things happen for OH, the more I can do community-wise. And they don't need to be separate. They can be integrated.
Yeah. You're totally right.
And so I think a lot of companies and a lot of people, like if you can take what you do from a company standpoint, I know Gila River does amazing thing in the communities. I mean, it's incredible. If you can take like what you do for work that of course you're passionate about and integrate that into some sort of purpose that's bigger than you, that helps something that you're passionate about, like you are, that I am, I think amazing things can happen. And then our world gets better, and like we're all in charge of this, and we're all in these positions for this.
Totally. OH is a means for you to provide community support.
100%.
That's what it is at the end of the day.
100%. And my thing's kids too, like underprivileged kids, because I was raised by my dad, so I can relate to you a lot in a totally different way. Like I didn't have my mom around as much as I would have wanted.
That's important. There's scars that exist.
There's some scars there for sure, and it's no one's fault. It's not my mom's fault. It's not my dad's fault. Nope. It's just it happened for a reason.
Yeah, totally.
I love that.
Yeah. So my whole purpose is to cover as many manholes as I can so people don't fall into them. I want to give back to the community as much as possible. I want to have a sole purpose. When people wake up and they're solely searching for either money or something else that's not true fulfilling, you're never fulfilled all the way. I've been able to just in my lead to have God first in my life and everything I do, right? And I'm not perfect. Don't mistake that. People hear Christians and they go, oh, they think they're perfect.
Oh yeah. No,
I'll set the record straight. We're not perfect.
100%.
We're not perfect. We have the same struggles everybody else is, but we have grace. That's the one difference, right? We have grace. We have forgiveness. That's the difference. That we are allowed to kind of wipe off the sin and wipe off the things that we fall at and go, I know I'm forgiving another day, and you keep moving on.
For sure.
Not carrying that burden and that struggle and those scars, right? Allowing those things to become open. You have no burden.
It is so hard though to accept your weaknesses, because it's such an ego blow that like you have areas of weakness, and to like get your head and your mind ready just for the next day to like just keep trying to get better.
Somebody told me ego is not my amigo. I can't tell you who told me that.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, ego is not my amigo, and it makes sense. And as men,
Ooh.
we struggle with ego and pride.
Oh, so much.
Oh, so bad.
Yo, big time.
Yeah. So in my walk, right?
Ego's not my amigo.
Ego
That
is
is
not my
awesome.
amigo, yeah.
That's good. I'm gonna use that.
TM trademark.
Yes, you need to.
Yeah. So in my walk, what's crazy is God perfectly appointed me to this job, right? Gila River actually is okay with it. They know what I stand for. They know what I believe in. I don't overly put it out there, right? But I've been able to do so many things inside the casino itself where you wouldn't think is walking people to Christ, be there for people that have lost children and pray for them when they're there. I've been able to open up and pray for team members of 200 in front of them. I've been able to open up for the council, right? They embrace that faith.
100%.
It's a foundation for them. That's valuable to me, right? I'm able to do it in there. I have a good church. I'm actually an ordained minister.
That's crazy.
You don't know? You know this?
You told me that last night.
I'm an ordained minister. I married my best friend actually about a month ago, actually.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, in Sedona. So I'm that. I'm a deacon for my church. I take that very, very important. And just recently, this Sunday, I'm actually assisting, and I don't want to say that I'm launching because it's not just me on its own, but I'm assisting the church in becoming the face for a men's gathering, a men's group, a men's Bible study, a men's organization in that church. We need to get more men, career, non-career, families, whatever it is. We need to get men on a straight line and understand our purpose and understand that every man in here, every single one of us are qualified. None of us are better than each other. If we all come together and take each other's gifts that we've been given, imagine what happens.
I freaking love that. I've had to have, like, similar to you, like a reality check, and it was funny is it happened for me about the same age, like 35.
Really?
Yeah. 35, I got crushed, dude.
Did you?
Yeah. I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I got to make a big change. And it was literally, I woke up and like, everything that I've been doing, I'm going to throw out. I'm going to start from scratch. I call it was a reset.
Yeah.
But I think as the more I've learned and I've gone on my journey, which I was baptized, I want to say 3 years ago.
Okay.
You and I talked about.
Yeah. I see pictures of it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was great. One of my good friends and pastors, he's been helpful. And you know what? I think a lot of times, like, I think it's a marketing thing. Like, you need people to relate to. You know what I mean? I think our background is set up, which is part of the reason I'm doing this, to just there's people you can relate to and people you can't. Like my pastor, he was had a sleeve tattoo. Played soccer at San Diego State. He was like, we had the same birthday.
Yep.
I just related to him, and I got him, and he helped me to understand kind of the big picture. He and literally 50 other people, right? 50 other guys and gals that have been there for me. But I think, where was I going on that?
That's all right. No, just the personality. Like you gravitate towards people that have a common
interest. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of men too. Like, and just talking to the men for a second, there's a time when, like, that I knew I need to start, like, being a man.
Yeah.
And that's not, and look, we're in advertising, we're talking about it. It's not a truck, and it's not guns, it's not like how much money you have or how cool you are. But it's so funny, like, I was just flooded with that. That's what I thought. I thought I'd be a good athlete. I thought I'd have money. I thought I'd have a hot girlfriend. I thought I had to have all this stuff.
Yep.
And when I realized is being a man is so much different than what I've been taught it is. It's about caring for people. It's about empathy. It's about embracing your emotions. It's about embracing your masculine energy and being okay with it. It's about so many other things. And I've seen men now come to me, and I've had now numerous conversations with people who was where I was at. Mm-hmm. And there's people that have helped me up, and now it's my turn to kind of do the same. It's crazy.
Exactly, man. You nailed it. That's spot on.
Right? And
that's exactly it. And don't you get that fulfilling that you get when you help somebody? Much more than you landing a huge client.
It's like going through the moon. It's like going to the moon, dude. Yeah. Like, you feel...
We're wired that way. We're made that way.
Well, you start to understand what purpose is about.
Definitely.
And for me, like I was telling somebody the other day on the podcast, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get purpose tattooed on my arm right here.
Oh yeah.
So I can every day wake up and be like, all right, this is it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's
Well,
suit
it's
up.
funny because you gravitate towards somebody with tattoos, right? If I saw you on the street
Yeah,
and you had tattoos and bands, I'm going to connect with that guy
100%.
because we're one of the same, right?
100%.
Yeah, and that's just for everybody, right? Whether you don't have tattoos, somebody doesn't have they may gravitate towards you as well.
I agree with that, and accepting that that's okay. That's a part of you.
Totally.
But it's
We all
so
gotta
funny.
be
Like
there.
you and I always think of like the marketing perspective on it too.
Yeah. It's easier to follow a brand, and I'll say personal brand, but it correlates into business. It's easier to follow a brand if there is a true purpose of community benefit
Mm-hmm.
and assisting and helping. If there's a true heart, right?
Yeah,
And I say Gila River always has a giving heart. That's kind of what I tell them. Like Gila River has a giving heart because they do.
they really do. It's part of the culture. 100%.
It is amazing. I have never worked for a place like that ever.
It's crazy. It's like, but I mean, it's so funny. Like tribal casinos, like what people don't know is like, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this. I'll say it anyway. But it's like literally, it's like another country,
Oh yeah.
and the casino
It
is
is.
literally supporting like a community of people, not only in their own community, but even people that are outside of it.
Oh yeah.
You're like, and like it's culture shock at first. Like I'm going to these meetings, and it's like
That's why I
like
go to
prayer and
work.
like
Yeah. That's why I go to work every day, and I'm like, we're serving a bigger purpose because we are feeding and helping and assisting 25,000 community members by our works of gaming revenue.
it's insane.
It's not. I'm not making my pockets any smaller.
Yeah.
You know, Ken doesn't get any. Like that doesn't exist. Nobody's owning that. It's the community that owns it. They're all stakeholders, and so when we come to work and we go, we're gonna bust our ass
Yeah,
for this time.
that's cool.
We're busting our butts for 25,000 people so they can get food, so they can have resources to work, so that they can have housing, so they can have medical, they can have protection from law enforcement. If their house catches on fire, they have a fire department. That's what it's funding, man. You talk about having a purpose. That's a purpose. There's a misconception of casinos. They go, oh yeah, so-and-so's gonna, yeah, it might happen in other jurisdictions, right? This one doesn't happen that way.
No.
Doesn't happen that way.
What do you think's next in terms of casino marketing? Like where is it going? I mean, you know, we got sports betting. I'm
Yep.
totally changing gears because
That's
I'm
right.
ADD. You got
Me too.
sports betting. You got you know a bunch of legislation passed in Arizona recently that's going to change things up. Like where do you think the industry's headed?
I think the industry is going to explode. It's big already. Talking with outside other jurisdictions and other companies in our same industry, large companies, they say, you guys have done phenomenal things and you guys haven't even got all the resources and you guys are just scratching the surface.
Mm.
And with this new amended compact that's coming in from the state and sports betting, etc., coming on, this jurisdiction, the city, is going to explode with full, more resort feel type casinos and gaming opportunities, which produces more revenue, which produces more tax dollars to the state, which produces better living for the state, right? It's all trickled down. Our gaming revenue that the casinos make don't just benefit the Gila River Indian community. They also benefit the state. We have to give 12% of our gaming revenue earnings back to the state of Arizona.
Wow.
It helps academics, education. My daughter, I tell her she was in school, when she was like, oh, you know, you're just going to work. And I'm like, yeah, but if I don't go to work, you may not be able to read that book that's in your school.
For sure.
Because it's funded by that. There's a huge revenue source that brings to it. So it's cyclical and it's all full circle back, right? Which is a good thing. But you're going to see better amenities, better things to be proud of as we talk about our casinos or our entertainment, because we pride ourselves on entertainment here
100%.
in Arizona.
It is entertainment.
It's going to happen. You're going to see these things start exploding and getting bigger, and that's going to help the state in whole.
So in 5 years, Arizona looks like what?
I would say Arizona in 5 years. Arizona right now is amazing.
It's on fire. Don't you love this place?
Oh, I
freaking
love it.
Arizona.
I was thinking, like, why did I want to go back?
I know.
Like, what was that
Arizona's
day? That was
thing.
it.
I mean, I wish we had surfing here, but
Yeah, we could make that. I'm sure
we're
we'll.
close enough. But
Yeah.
okay, so I mean, we're exploding growth. There's California's coming in. They're building shit. Like it's crazy here. Like I mean,
Yeah.
the market's insane here, and I'm just curious. Like where does it head? Like
I think you're going to see some casinos that explode to 1,000-room resorts.
wow.
You're going to
How
see
many rooms at Gila now? Because you're
with
building
our
a new tower.
expansion, we
Yeah.
will go to approximately 450, 475 roughly.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And then when you had
Sheraton, we were about 1,000.
1,000 with Sheraton
rooms there. But as an entity, as just one entity itself, I think you can see it exploding to 1,000 room resorts.
You see Vegas style resort.
I don't know if they'll get full Vegas style resorts because they have a huge influx of travelers and tourists, which we do too. But it's not as long as theirs, right? They have a longer run at it, and they have an international
space.
Yeah, they have international market, right?
Yeah.
But I think what you'll see is for New Mexico, for California, for states that are kind of around us, you're going to start seeing them choosing Arizona over possibly potentially Nevada when they make trips there. A lot of people in Arizona make trips to Nevada to get a full kind of gaming experience, right? They want to see that.
Yeah.
I think in the future, 5-10 years, you're going to see that happen where you can deliver it here.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about driving to Vegas.
And we talked about this the other day. It's like, look, if you live in Peoria or you live in East Mesa, it's like just staycation here. Why take a flight to Vegas?
Totally. Staycations are, I love them. They're huge.
They are huge. It's just nice to change it up. And then you're not like on a plane and like it's a pain in the ass.
No, you have more of your money here.
I think we will see a lot more of that. I agree with you. The travel business is totally changing right now. I think, the way traditional hotels have operated is going to have to change a lot. I'm excited to see guys like you in the industry, what sort of consumer-centric things you can do to make people's experience better. Yeah,
I think the digital sense is probably where we're all going.
Yeah.
COVID, if it's taught us anything, it's like we can be reliant on digital aspects and still feel value in it. There was a sense at one time that if you didn't have a person there that had a dialogue with somebody.
Will it be mobile gaming in the future?
I couldn't say either way.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm for that though, to be honest with you.
That's going to be interesting.
I don't know how I feel about that, but
sports betting, but
I think you're going to have the ability to do a lot more via mobile.
Yeah.
And off premise than what you normally would have been able to do in the past. I mean, look at meetings, right? It may seem cumbersome now because you have to do Zoom and everything else, but it's actually kind of
saves you a lot of freaking time, man.
It's kind of nice, right? I mean, we're finding that we're getting a little easier through this meeting process. Same thing with like apps, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, we're running promotions right now on our app.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So people can enter promotions, run promotions, play games through the app, and they don't have to even step inside the casino.
What's loyalty look like in the future?
I don't know if loyalty ever existed, to be honest with you. I mean, I use this word a lot. It's probably not politically correct, but consumers are promiscuous. There is in casino, loyalty clubs is probably an oxymoron because they have every single card to every single casino. It's probably location.
Wow.
Accessibility.
I mean, we came up with a card, man. What are you talking about? Like,
it's a great program, and you have to have it, right? There's value in reward systems. I'm not knocking it in any way.
You're so right, though. Like, yeah, like I mean, I
want convenience.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I have Southwest, I got American, I got Hilton, I got Marriott. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm not.
And where do you choose to stay when you're looking
the
at
best place for the best price for where other people are at? Like,
you said it. Where other people are at.
Yeah.
If you can make your place, and this is kind of sounds very, very dumb when I say this, but if you are the cool place that's giving everybody else, if there's a line, people will stand in line not even knowing what it's for.
100%.
Because something's good. Something's happening. Why is everybody else coming?
100%. That's so true about loyalty, and we focus on loyalty. I think a lot of brand marketers, like, they don't focus on, like, you got to be cool and fun and like the place to be. That's all it is. And
be yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Be yourself. Well, like, especially in today's world, like the cool kids are the kids that understand themselves and are funny and witty and like authentic. Like, that's what you need to be as a brand. Like, you need to be the cool kid. Like in today's world, not the cool kid it was 10 years ago. Yeah.
It'd be different. I mean, look at what's thriving right now.
You have the restaurant scene, the bars, like it's the different, cool, like authentic kind of brick exposed spot kind of stuff. Yeah,
for sure.
I agree with you. But we get caught up into those analytics, those market analytics. We get in there and we get all weird.
That's all we know.
Yeah,
that's all we know, man.
I like the way it's going. I think we're having a renaissance in terms of marketing and brand. Like you see,
millennials are going to be huge for that.
What is?
Millennials are going to be a huge
driving force for that because they command it.
They command it, and also they can influence us as old timers, right? I will say old souls, right? 40 years old. We know the old ways, and they're going to come in and go, hey, you can do it this way, And that's what's generations kind of coming into the fold.
For sure.
You look at their generation, what is it, Y or
Generation Z?
Z, okay, we're on Z. Generation Z, whenever we run out of alphabets, I don't know what happens.
Yeah, I don't know.
Reset or what?
I don't know what we do.
But they're going to bring a different
Go back to A,
perspective.
Gen A.
Go back to A, yeah. They have more population.
Oh, it's huge.
So if I'm a business, I may lose a little bit on the top end, but look where I'm focusing, man. Longevity.
But millennials don't like game of chance, like game of skill. They are coming, but you and I've done the research, and we know they hit a certain age and they become casino players.
I just don't think they have discretionary income right now.
Some, yeah, for sure.
And their priorities are different, right?
Their what?
Their priorities are different.
They are, yeah. But I do think they will become, casino, entertainment customers, without having games of skill, at being the primary force. I think we've seen the research. You hit a certain age, you have some discretionary income, and you want to relax and you want to blow up some steam.
It's communal.
Yeah, it is.
More communal-based gaming. That's what sports betting is going to bring. In the communal. Where
That's
you
a
can watch
great point.
Game, you can wager. You can play table games. You and your boys can go take over a blackjack table. And
Yeah,
play and
yeah.
just
So
have
the
fun.
communal gaming. That's a great point.
Yeah, and,
I like
and they're trying to get to that point now. It's just they haven't got there quite yet.
Where the new products in the new way will help us in that.
Yeah, because when you go with your girlfriend, right, you go to a casino
Yeah.
and you guys play, you're searching out where can we sit together or where can we be together.
For sure.
It's not conducive to that right now in the sense.
For sure.
They're making multi where they have two seats on one, right? Like the love seat.
Oh, that's
They're
cool.
trying to go that route, but if your game is not closer, there's somebody in between,
Yeah.
not the same value. So you will see, if you go to a casino, you will see multiple people standing behind a player, and they're usually a couple, observing it because they want to share that moment together. They want to be communal.
Yeah, that's a great point. So that's from the product side. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So
All right, who is giving me the we got to wrap it up here, but just thank you for coming on.
yeah, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, dude, I love talking. I talk to owners all day because, I think having these real conversations, I think it's, I feel very, lucky, honestly, to have, a client where you can have just deep conversations like we've had over the years, and there's that respect there. So thanks for coming on. I want to encourage everybody out there, share this, we're out here hustling this, and it's, it's not our full-time job, but we want to provide value. So if you have a comment or something you want to say, please say it. If you share it, that helps get the message out there of what we're trying to do, which is help other people in any aspect of their career. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks, Dominic.
Thank you.
You just experienced the Big Reset, Marketing and Business Edition. New episodes of our highly engaging series drop every Wednesday, while past sit-downs are available to stream or download in our archive. For more, follow your host at Scott Harkey on Instagram. And for more on OH, check out ohpartners.com.